guys, what's up? It's Alec Torelli and welcome to the Conscious Poker YouTube. In this video we are going to talk about the 5 tips to beat your friends and family in poker. But if you're new here and you like this content, hit that like button and the subscribe button. Be sure to turn on notifications as well. We put out awesome content on a regular basis here to help take your poker game to the next level. Let's dive right in. The first tip that I would recommend to beat your friends and family at poker is also one of the biggest mistakes that I see amateurs make, and professionals alike too, and that is to play fewer starting hands. So if there's one strategy I would say to implement to immediately take all the fat off, so to speak, easy way to lose 10 pounds, or however you want to think about this analogy, it's just to play fewer starting hands. I know that's not necessarily sexy, it's not necessarily fun, because you have to be a lot more patient, you have to sit and wait for good opportunities to come and fold. You might get ridiculed by your friends and family. They might call you names or, point fingers because you're being so tight. But at the end of the day, it's a zero-sum game. You're trying to win their money. They're trying to win your money. And if you want to end up with more chips than you started with, play fewer hands. If you'd like help on how to do this, exactly which hands to play from which positions, I put together pre-flop starting charts. These hand range charts tell you exactly which hands to play from which position. I also included a free pre-flop guide that helps you modify this strategy to your own home game. So if you're playing with crazy friends and whatever, it tells you how to modify these charts. Anyway, you can download it all for free at the link below. So click on that and download those charts. The second strategy to help you beat your friends and family at poker is to bring it in for a raise. I know home games are supposed to be friendly. It's a family pot or a friendly pot. That's all great, but again, if you want to win money, it helps to raise pre-flop. So if you're going to play a hand, be sure to raise 2 or 3 times the size of the big blind. That's a great strategy. It applies pressure right away. It forces other players to fold. And most important is it gives you leverage throughout the hand to win the pot. So what it does is it forces everybody else to be on defense. And in poker, you win by being on offense. You want to be the one throwing the punches. You don't want to be the one getting hit. So when you're the person that's raising pre-flop, you're the one that's on offense. Think about it like a sports game where you're the one that has the ball. You can score when you have the ball a lot easier. So you want to be on offense. And by raising pre-flop, it puts you on offense, puts other players on defense, and then you can win the pot post-flop, meaning after the next 3 cards are dealt, by betting and representing a strong hand. Regardless of whether you have a hand or not, you can bet and represent one because you were the pre-flop raiser. Raise pre-flop, you'll win more money. The third strategy to beat your friends and family at poker is to profile your opponents. Now this is the fun part, and this is where poker gets deep and multifaceted, and there's a lot of different levels to the game. But the concept here is to realize that people's personalities are reflected in how they play poker. So if you're playing against your mother-in-law and they're really stubborn, they're probably not going to fold. So don't bluff them. So it's important to think about how they act as a person and their strengths and their character flaws, and realize that those things are amplified. They're manifested and they're amplified in the poker table. And so you want to create a strategy for each unique player based on how you profile them as a person, because how they are as a person is going to be reflected in how they play the game. Strategy number 4 to beat your friends and family at poker is to look for betting patterns. This is a great way to approach poker in general, is you want to understand how people approach the game. So now that you've profiled your opponents, you want to understand who calls every bet with weak hands. So let's say you raise pre-flop and you bet the flop and you get called. Is that person likely to have a really strong hand or likely to have a really weak hand? And you want to decipher that based on the frequencies that they're making certain plays. So if they're always calling every bet you make and they're always calling every raise you make, chances are they don't have anything good, because that's their betting pattern. They're calling with everything. So this can allow you to value bet more often. You can get more value from your strong hands because you know that they probably don't have anything good. You can perhaps bluff them more frequently, or maybe you don't want to bluff them at all because they never fold, but you want to craft a strategy based on the betting patterns of your adversaries. So if you want a strategy that'll help you decipher the betting patterns of your opponents, a simple blueprint that I follow in every hand I play, I teach clients and students as well, it's called my hand range fund. And the concept is that your opponents start with a very wide range, a very wide number of hands that they could have, and each action they take, each time they make a bet or a raise or a call, the hands with which they can do that get narrower and narrower. So it acts like a funnel. It starts very wide, and if you can imagine a funnel, it starts very wide and it progressively gets narrower throughout the hand. That's the way that your opponent's hands will get narrower. It'll follow the same shape as a funnel. So I walk you through how to do this in my free blueprint, a hand range funnel. It's what I use to hand read in poker still to this day, and I've made it free. It's in a PDF. You can download it at the link below. Enter your name and email. I'll send it right over. You'll also be subscribed to our newsletter. Every Monday we put out a newsletter called Crush Mondays with the best poker content of the week, so check that out at the link below. The fifth and final poker tip is maybe the most fun, is to practice your poker face. So you see people give away what are called tells all the time in home games. Tells meaning they make some sort of physical action that indicate the strength of their hand. So a certain card comes and they move like this and they sit up, or a card comes and they say, oh wow, and it's obvious that that card helped their hand, and therefore you know they have a strong hand, and then you can react accordingly. You can perhaps not bluff or not call when they make a large wager. So this is something that you're going to need to consciously work on, and a strategy that's really helped me as well as my clients is to imagine what you're going to do before you do it. So let's say you're sitting there in the heat of the moment, while you're thinking about whether you want to bet, or while you're thinking about whether you want to check, or whether you want to call a bet or make a raise, you consciously think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. These are how many chips I'm going to touch, and this is you imagine the motion of your hand going into the pot. It's not going into the pot. Your hand moving the chips past the betting line. So this is a great strategy because when you imagine it, it's easier to implement it in real time, and by forcing yourself to visualize how you're going to act, it's more likely that you're going to be stoic. And that's really what you want to think about. You want to think about you're the guy that's not affected by anything, or the girl that's not affected by anything, and you don't reveal any emotions until the end of the hand. So, got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. But when you're in the middle of the hand, or as Kenny Rogers says, but when you're in the middle of the hand, it's really important to maintain that poker face. So that's something you want to practice, and watch videos of other people that are playing at a high level. You'll see that they all react very stoic. It's actually almost kind of boring to watch because you're not used to that. When you're seeing other sports, you see people release so much emotion after a point. They high-five their teammates, they do all this crazy stuff. In poker at the high levels, they just sit there and they wait till the hand is over. They wait till the whole tournament's over, the whole game is over. So practice your poker face. I hope these 5 tips helped. Let me know which tip was your favorite in a comment below. Let me know if you have other poker tips or questions. I'm happy to answer those. And finally, if you want an awesome table to play poker on with your friends, check out our brand new table at Conscious Poker. We have 3 versions available. They're very beautiful. We use the same tables that the WPT, the World Poker Tour, uses, and they're available at the link in the description below as well. So hopefully that helps on your journey. Thanks for your attention. Subscribe to our channel. More awesome content's coming, and I will see you in the next one. Good luck beating your friends and family.